Hello, my name's Dmitri, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about something that affects all of us. It's about grief, sadness, and the way that we can feel sometimes, and hopefully some tools that may help you. Now, this is in response to a request from a long time ago. Suggested that I do like a Dr. Dmitri roleplay, which would be quite good, but I think that it kind of loses a bit more of a personal touch or connection where it's a roleplay. This video is partly inspired by someone that I follow, and that they, plus me, plus I'm sure some of you, struggle to deal with the world around us in a number of different ways. We're kind of going about like grief and sadness, and I guess you could call it depression. Now, I guess it's hard to know where to start, but first of all is that I just want you to just put yourself in a perspective situation. Everybody's in different situations, and I'm not the most qualified person to talk about. If you're feeling depressed, unhappy, sad, you should seek professional help. So it's important to speak to someone that's trained, but I think it's also important to speak to someone and not be afraid to kind of admit what it is that you're feeling, or if you're feeling something, talk to somebody about it. Really, especially us guys, we're a bit blockheaded, I guess we could say. We don't like to talk about any problems that we're feeling, and that's something that definitely you should do. So first thing is, you really need to talk to someone about it. At least if it's not a professional, you need to reach out to someone that you trust, or even a complete stranger is better than trying to bottle it up. All right, but first I want you to put yourself into perspective of the situation you're in. Again, everyone's in different situations, but think about other people around the world, and think about their situation, their environment, and how they might be feeling, and just put yourself in that perspective. And it's not a comparison to make you feel better. It's a comparison that there's different situations that you need to be aware of, and it may not be as bad as you think. All right, so let's just talk about, just briefly for a second, grief. Grief might be, let's talk about, someone that you care about may have passed away. Let's talk about something which is quite normal, which would be, let's say, an old relative passes on. And this is something that's expected, something that's normal, something that's mostly natural when it's natural causes. That it's very common that you'll feel sad, and this is a good thing because it's natural. It's not abnormal. It's part of life, and so we're referring to like the old person dying of natural causes, not unexpected. I'm just trying to put it in that perspective because I understand there's a lot of situations where it's not like that and it's unexpected. Okay, but it still allows you the same tools to try and deal with it. And I find that some people will think about regret, and it can eat you up. And I understand this feeling, but it is what it is. You won't be able to change anything. And it even eats me up now, the regrets that I've had. I'll give you an example of the unexpected. Once, a friend of mine, when I was young, came to see me, and it was like he wanted to get some money, I guess, borrow some money for something or some moment, and I could tell that something wasn't quite right. And a very, very good friend of mine, I really like this person more than most people that I've encountered in my life. And, I didn't think too much about it because I didn't expect the unexpected. That later that day, he took his own life. And I believe it was for reasons that were just, they didn't warrant or grant such a drastic move to do something like that. And I guess this is where the sadness, grief type of thing comes into it. So this isn't the grief over someone passing, but this is the grief or the sadness that a person might be experiencing while they're experiencing suicidal thoughts. Now, please, if you are experiencing suicidal thoughts, reach out to someone, anyone. Just reach out to someone, because, if we were to work together, we can solve most problems. And I don't believe that anybody should need to do that because of an environmental situation that you're in. You kind of look at it like that, in that you're in an environmental situation, and it can be hard to see a way out. But you got to make it happen. You got to find that way out. Everybody's been in certain situations. I've been in certain situations which is like a spiraling down. So now, what I'm going to get to at this point in time is the spiral of thought. Now, I'm going to try and link a video down here that talks a little bit about it. But think of yourself as like, up the top here is happy, down the bottom is sad, and this is you going around. And these are your thoughts spiraling. So let's just say it's an everyday thought here. And every time you sort of think negatively, sadness, grief, start going lower and lower and lower. Once you get down to the bottom, that's when you start having those suicidal thoughts. And so it's like this pattern of thought is that you need to kind of do something that stops that cycle of thought that brings you down. While you're not going to be able to get up to the top where it's all happy, you need to kind of keep that balance that you are grieving in that type of a situation. But grieving can be quite normal and natural, but you're not going all the way down to the bottom of where people would consider suicide as a potential way out. There's many ways out in this world, and that shouldn't be one of them. It should be working together with people. You really, the best tool that you have is voicing how you feel to someone, and to not be scared of the way they react, because you might be worried, but to be honest, most normal people that care about you, and they're going to see this as a not a way to help somebody, but they hear about it. People hear about this type of thing so much, And when you talk to someone, I'm sure they're going to go out of their way to spend time with you. And if they say that they're going to spend the night with you in like a friendly situation, welcome it. This is something that stops that spiral of thought going down and brings it back up to not like a normal level, but not down to the bottom, but kind of like hovering of being normal and suicidal type of thing. But it's important to find something that you can use to stop yourself from getting into that situation. So that there is a tool of a pattern of thought, and when you think about it, when something happens, you will continue to think about it, and the more that you think about it, the more it makes it worse. Thinking about it isn't a bad thing, but it's just realizing when it's just making things worse. That there is an important part of the whole grieving process, or going through something that needs help, is realizing your pattern of thought and finding a tool that can help you. So, like, not me, but like ASMR videos in general, they have that's something that you're looking for. And like in this video, there's no fear. You have no fear of how I might judge you, or how my interaction with you would affect you, because there's no personal interaction between us other than my words and my intention to help you to realize the kind of cycle that you're in, and not to let it go down. Now, this is an important part. I want to give you another tool. I think this video that I linked before has the information. It's about who's driving your bus. I want you to think about, like right now, I'm in complete control of my bus. I'm driving my body. I'm calm. I'm relaxed. I don't have any feelings of anger, frustration, grief, sadness, or anything like that right now, because my main focus is talking to you. And my intention is to help you. Like, if this video helps just one person, then it was all worth it. If I can help two, it's a bonus. It's to realize that when you're grieving, when you're sad, when you're trying to deal with something that I'm going to touch on soon, like, for example, bullying. This is something I'm going to get to in a second. Is that when you are feeling that way, do you think you're driving your bus? Do you think you're in control of your own mind in some of your actions? For example, if you have an angry outburst, or you go to a shop and you have to wait an extra minute in line and you walk out, or something like that. At that moment, who's driving your bus? Is it the real you, the centered you, the calm you, the balanced you, the you that you want to be? Or is it the grieving you, the frustrated, the angry, the sad, depressed, the one feeling anxiety? There's all of these different versions of you sitting in the back. You want to kick their ass out of the driver's seat. You want to take control of your body. So it's another part of you realizing, for example, the up and down thing. Like, if you go down, you're suicidal. You go up, you're happy. You realize where you're going, and you can stop yourself going down and bring yourself up a little bit. Well, it's the same thing with who's driving the bus. You realize, hang on a second, I just had a road rage incident where you just, get angry at someone for pulling out in front of you when they didn't see you and it was a pure accident, you get angry, and that happens to me, happens to people. You realize that you just lost control of the bus, that angry version of you just ripped you by the hair and chucked you in the back and was going, "Rah," controlling you. And then you realize, and then it's like the angry version of you just completely just slips out of the driver's seat and you just hop back in and keep going on your merry way. It's kind of like that, if you realize quickly it's only small, but extended periods of having an angry version of you in control, a sad version of you in control, a frustrated person, that's when, and then if you spiral down, it's when people do things that affect other people around them. Now, this touches on another subject about the world around us and how it's like a minefield these days to navigate. And I feel, this is another discussion, to be honest, is that I feel that the world that we live in, we're kind of following a really old style of trying to manage the world, and through governments and people and all sorts of stuff that I don't think it's working. And I don't think that the way that people are schooled, the way that cities and large groups of people are managed, there feels there's just too much anger. And somehow, over time, it's like it's become okay and the right thing to do to make people feel bad, to bully them, to rip them off, to trick them, to cheat them. There's something wrong with the world. There's a greed of, it's a disease, but it's not. It's like anxiety. They say anxiety is a disease, and I understand the feeling of anxiety. But there's no disease called anxiety. There's no bacteria or virus that causes it. It's just a series of events that the brain interprets a little bit like ASMR. It's like the opposite of ASMR. And it creates levels of anxiety. So the world around us is almost set to break us down bit by bit. And I believe that, greed and money and the way that the world has been set up with so many rules in place, it's there to, maybe not intentionally, but it's there to really cause a lot of problems. And then you add to that food. Like, I believe most of what it is that affects us is environmental. But the environmental, it covers so many things. It covers the pollution, the food, the people around us and how they treat us and how we treat them. And it's kind of like the expectation of other people on what you should do. And I feel that school just doesn't quite promote wellness and health of the mind. And this is where I'd like to give people a push or a suggestion that the world of kind of like spiritual happiness, enlightenment, it may not be the answer for everyone, but I think there's answers there for a lot of people. And I believe a lot of the people that experience ASMR, I believe, are quite potentially more linked to a spiritual type of background of a way to experience happiness and enjoyment, and to find something that they can use that brings a reduction in the environmental stresses that we go through each day. That brings me on to environmental stresses of other people. Now, today you have to realize that the other people around you that might be causing bullying stress to you are experiencing it themselves. And a very common reaction from people is that they try and put that bad feeling that they're feeling, they try and put it onto other people. And it's, to me, after my grey hairs and getting old and stuff like that, it's almost like there's this unseen world that we don't see, but we feel it, but we don't understand we're feeling it. And it's almost like there's a negative energy that associates itself with a person, a group of people. And then when you, I don't know if this is even possible, but then you associate a whole city of people where a large percentage of people are in that cycle of anger and bullying and trouble, and just, it's almost like they imprint it onto everyone around them, and then everyone around them wants to imprint it and get it off their shoulders and put it on other people. And it's just like a chain reaction, ticking time bomb. It's like, chain lightning, where it just hits one person, it goes to 2 more people, and then that goes to 4 more people, and then 8 more people. And I can't imagine it's possible, but that, it breeds that hatred and that anger and that thing that the person, that in control person, gets thrown to the back seat, and that angry person wants to make other people feel bad so he can laugh about it and he thinks it feels good. And because you're in the back seat and you see him driving and he seems happy, you kind of, it's like a short boost of happiness, but there's no longevity to making other people feel bad to make yourself feel good. It's not going to work. It's just not possible. And that's where I think people affect people more than anything else. You have material things. People have a car, and you want to have a car, and I understand that feeling. And it's stupidly like in our DNA to see something and then we want it, whether it's a flower, a man, a woman, a car, a house, a holiday, the Instagram pictures of an unrealistic life that you want to achieve. It's just, life these days is just built up in a way that it's just not real. And that's why I kind of suggest you look into the spiritual world of happiness, that there's substance to it. People aren't trying to make you happy by having an awesome car or a nice dress. I understand how these things make you feel. And, we are all guilty of feeling these feelings. It's kind of natural, but it's how you respond to these feelings and how you allow them to take control over your thoughts. And we keep going back to the people thing and the bullying. So, the way people are bullying these days and saying things like, I experienced it when I was young, but today it feels different. Like what the kids were doing when they were 15, they're now doing that type of stuff when they're like 10 and 8 years old now. And it seems that over time and what's been happening is that like going to school these days, you're much younger. And then when you get to the 15, the level of the way people bully you is just, it's just out of control. Like it's way out of control. And it really affects young people. It's difficult for young people. Like, you think when you're 15 years old you can deal with anything. And I was guilty of believing that, and when adults talk, we kind of listen, but we think that we know what's the right thing to do and we know how to do stuff. But there's just situations that you just haven't experienced that you have to learn it. You have to learn the hard way sometimes. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way a few times before you really, really learn it. But you have to try and find a way to avoid it or realize it, and I could imagine it's so hard because I know kids these days in schools of just a few experiences, they cop it really badly. So what happens is you get the group of people and they make the other people feel bad to laugh and make themselves feel good. But again, it's not a long-lasting feel good. But what I can tell you is that if you persevere, if you do your best to try and find a way to manipulate your environment to lessen the impact it has on you, to realize your cycle of thought, that if you keep thinking about it, you'll go down, and to try and stop that cycle and try and get back up to a normal level playing field. Try and keep control of yourself, who's in control of your brain and your actions, and do the best you can. If you're young, and I know there's a lot of young people watching this, I can tell you now, if you were to track a lot of people that were at school and you've got the groups that might be more bullied compared to the groups that bully, you'll find that later in life there's going to be one group of people that will do better, I think. And I think you know which group that will be. So, the environment that you're in is just critical. The way people's energy affects you. And when you're forced to be around large groups of people, you really need to try and find those groups of people that you can fit in with, that just want to be your friends, want to just hang out. You don't have to go to the most fantastic nightclub and party, even though it can be fun sometimes. It's just a matter of trying to find what's going to work for you. Getting through your young years is quite a mission these days, and it was different in the old days. Whereas now, it's huge. So what I would recommend is trying to save money, work. Try and build yourself something which will give you a better future. Try and find the tools that you can use. So ASMR is a really, really good tool to help the aftermath of experiencing an environmental situation that makes you feel sad. It's really, really good. And these are tools that you can use. And luckily, luckily you have these tools to help. And I know firsthand that ASMR has helped a lot of people. It's not like, a car is mechanically broken, you change a part and you fix it. Anxiety, depression, all of these things are very subject to your thoughts and the way you describe your thoughts. And I feel like I'm just rambling on and I don't feel like I'm getting to a good point, but I really wish I was better at this. It's just a matter of realizing where you are, thinking in your environment. Also, something I wanted to touch on was food. And I really don't want you to use food as a way to make you feel better. I understand it. I am guilty of doing that myself. And it's a false friend. It's 100% it's a false friend. It doesn't give a what about you. All it is the way you're interpreting signals inside your gut and how it makes your brain feel. And, you got to just try and eat as natural as possible. Yeah. Just try and find tools to relax, try and mitigate the damage, try and reduce the damage that is done when you're in a social situation and you're experiencing bullying. Any online bullying that you might be experiencing, delete all of your social accounts. Just delete them. It's difficult these days for you to do that, but for example, when I started my YouTube channel, I deleted my Facebook account. Not that there was anything on there, but I deleted my Facebook account. Me being older, didn't have that big of a impact on me. But don't be afraid to delete them. Don't be afraid to block certain websites out of your browsing habit. Block websites that have the ability to make you feel bad. People sending you messages, for the girls that do ASMR, and people on YouTube, they're going to get messages that are not very nice. I don't really get it much because I'm too old. Yeah, but it's there and it affects everybody. It can even affect me sometimes. And I have received one message once that did make me feel not very happy about something that I did. It wasn't major, but it was something. But I've received lots of messages or encouragement of how the content that people like myself create helps people. And again, that's what it is. It's about finding things that can help you. Go to places where people are that they're not that mainstream. Go to places where people are more spiritual, where they care about you. Like why isn't the world care about each other? We don't give a about our neighbours. Not that we don't do that, but I mean we as a whole country, it's kind of like we just try and deal with our day-to-day stuff, and when there's an emergency response, we donate $100 million that barely even makes it to the people that need it. And then we do it again. $100 million and, 90% of it gets eaten up in administration costs. And the people that need it, they're lucky to get anything. There's the people of the world, we have so much love to give each other, yet we're almost conditioned into hatred and anger. And, if someone's got something better than us, we want to make them feel bad. And there's something wrong with the way the world is set up at the moment, and it's not right. We can't live in a way that was created hundreds of years ago. We're in the future now. What happened to beyond 2000 when I was a kid? Beyond 2000, everything was going to be fixed. Diseases were going to be cured. Geez, cure is a word that is not in the vocabulary of doctors these days. Treat? Cure? Oh no, sorry, we don't cure things anymore. Geez, it's like the problems are just so simple to look at if you got the right people together and just, it'd be like a laser beam, if you got everyone's brains, you could just fix everything so easily. Yet we're just in this perpetual world of greed and not caring that it really affects people like yourself. Where me, I've gone past that point. There's a lot of people that are in that point right now, and if you're still listening, congratulations and thank you. It's just a matter of trying to avoid the environment, find tools that can help yourself, find groups of people that care about one another. Yes, there's lots of things that I would like to, like even in my situation right now, I would like to just, for example, create a small group here in my hometown and just get people together to do like relaxation stuff. Simple, easy, no stress, no worries, it just makes you feel relaxed. And in this world, there's too much stress and tension that everyone experiences. There's not enough relaxation, there's not enough time to spend with people. Like, the time we spend with people these days is not about genuine. It is sometimes, but I mean, like, a lot of it's not about genuine discussion. It's about, what's the weather like? What do you do for work? How was your weekend? And we're conditioned in a robotic response. We always say, good, yes. When in reality, it was shit. It could have been better. There was some okay parts, but there's some real shit parts that put a whole downer on the weekend. And we all experience it, even myself. But we continue to lie to each other about how we feel. That's a point to discuss there on how we lie about how we feel. Alright, so I'm going to link another video, make another video public that I remember discussing with a lady that is more spiritual. Not than me, but I mean, than most people, But she was really good about opening up and talking about things in her past that had affected her, and she was very comfortable, and she was on her own spiritual journey to to heal herself, to make her better. You know what I mean? And like, I'm on my own journey, and I'm still going at it myself. You know, I'm trying. Everyone's on their own journey, and even me. Like, you think that I don't know. You think that I'm this person that talks on the camera, but I'm just a real person, and I get affected by other people's energies, and you know, I get affected too. I tend to avoid a lot of it, but you know, it's still there, and I experience the negativity that it brings you down. It doesn't make you feel good. So, you know, I try and bounce back up as quickly as I can, and then I go back down, and then it's a bit like a yo-yo. You know, we go up and down. It's a normal, natural thing, but it's how well you rebound back up from feeling down and getting back to that normal level that, for example, I'm in right now. I guess I'm a little bit above normal because I'm happy that I'm talking about something that has the potential to help somebody make a change their environment, say hello to someone. You know, just saying hello to people these days has become not scary, but it does give anxiety. All right, here's something just to make you smile a little bit. I'll give you my idea of an example of anxiety. All right, picture this. I'm 14 years old. I've just gotten my first job. You know, in Australia, legally, you need a thing called a tax file number, which I think is like a social security number in America. That means, you know, you pay tax and stuff like that. And I got a job at a bakery. And it wasn't hard getting a job at the bakery because the hours were pretty crap. You know, you start at like 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, and you work till like midnight and stuff like that. That's right. And so, you know, the first bits and pieces and stuff, you know, it was all pretty cruisy and stuff like that. And then I got put on the end of a conveyor belt where I had to pick up like tins, let's just say about this size, you know, like, you know, about that size, where they would, the buns would go on the tins and go through the oven. And so the tins have come through the oven, the bread's been put into the thing for the bread to cool down, and all of the tins are coming off. And I thought, oh yeah, this is okay, until I saw them coming. And all I had was like, not mitts, but just like a cloth that went around here. It was just like a flap of cloth on my hands to stop my hands from burning. You got a lot of burns at that place from hot tins. Anyway, they just started coming off that conveyor belt. And I distinctly remember experiencing a level of anxiety and stress that I could not keep up. And that was, you know, it's like a character building moment of, you know, overcoming that level of anxiety and stress in your body. The next time I did that job, 100% more confidence. This time I knew that I could do it, and I didn't experience any anxiety, or a little bit, you know, but not to the level it was the first time. And that's like where there's just, you know, that's just where there's just too much stuff coming at you to deal with. But this isn't the type of stress or anxiety that comes from a person that has that longer lasting effect. This is more of an instant effect. You know, I could have walked away at any point in time, but holy crap, there would have been a mess at the end of the thing, and I don't think I would have lasted very long. But anyway, you know, that was a pretty memorable, stressful event that elevated my anxiety to quite a high level. But it not being another person, kind of just being like something that I had to do. You just have to do it sometimes. You just have to try and deal with the load that's coming at you. And allow it to make you stronger. And the next time I did some other tins where they come off very, very, very fast. And you had two people to do it this time. And but this time, and plus I had someone there with me, you know, I didn't feel that level of stress because I was getting better and better at doing the job and knowing that I had the ability to do it. So you got to have confidence in yourself. Have confidence to go up and talk to new people. Have confidence to go to a group of new people and try and introduce. Find people that are nice, that are normal. There's lots of them out there.